Live from New York and broadcasted worldwide on Bashani Radio, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Echo, Apple TV, Siri, and all mobile streaming devices. Welcome to Productivity 360, your platform for all things productivity, with your host, Dr. Vernet Joseph, aka Mr. Productivity. It's time to talk productive.
Welcome back to Productivity 360, folks. I'm your man, Dr. Vernet Joseph. And listen, you already know what time it is. Every Friday, right here on Bashani iHeart. Listen, I ain't even saying that stuff no more, folks. We're worldwide, baby. Anywhere you want to find a radio show, a podcast, anything streaming, you know you can find us. So bottom line up front, every Friday, right here on Bashani and worldwide. Every Friday, I endeavor to bring you the best and the brightest from all around the world. I'm talking about big names, making big things happen in their community and abroad. So today, I'm going to bring to you my good friend, Sean J. Harris. Listen, I'm telling you, if you don't know who this young man is, you need to go ahead and Google his name, find him on his website, check out his Facebook platforms, and then start getting your wealth mind right. Okay, Sean, talk to me. How's it going, my brother?
Hey, Dr. Joseph, how you doing, my friend?
Man, outstanding as always. You already know the deal. No complaints, no concerns. We just walking in the light, shining and bright as ever. Why? Because we want people to know that it is possible to live your most productive life. Come on, man. Tell the listening audience where you're coming from, what you got going on. Give them a brief snippet about you in bio format, man, so we can get this party started.
All right. Well, hey, man, I'm glad to be here on the show with you. And again, I am Sean J. Harris. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. And, I had a background in the Air Force and aerospace propulsion aeronautics. And I just remember growing up, my folks told me to go to school, get good grades, go get a good job. And my dad gave me those three choices that we all get: either go to college, go get a job, or go to the military. So, of course, I chose the military and had a great time serving the country. But, man, my platform, I'm the America's #1 generational wealth expert. And I teach generational wealth to build a multiple streams of income. And, man, I'm just excited, man. Just excited.
All day, every day, man. What I hope that you all are picking up is what Sean has already begun to put down. Bottom line up front, listen, your beginning does not determine your ending. And now this is what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. We're going to be talking about generational wealth and building it through multiple, watch this, streams of income. Did you hear what I said? Generational wealth and building it through multiple streams of income. Now, Sean, what I want you to do, man, is talk to the listening audience. I need them to really feel your journey. You know, you talked about the Air Force, you talked about your parents and stuff, but I want them to see, how did you even arrive or morph into the man that I'm talking to on the other line right now? Give them a brief snippet of how that happened.
Gotcha. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, Doc, and, my great uncle and aunt owned one of the first African-American owned hotels here in Atlanta in the Auburn Avenue district, back during the civil rights and pre-civil rights time. Now, both my parents owned companies, so I grew up in a household understanding entrepreneurship. And again, like I said, I was given the choice that if you wanted to go pursue a career, you can do that, or if you wanted to go the business route, I could do that as well. So after I got out of the Air Force, I fulfilled a childhood dream, which was going into law enforcement. So I used to be a deputy sheriff. I used to kick in doors for a living. And I quickly realized that was a dangerous profession. I realized I was allergic to hot lead coming in my direction. So I had to definitely quickly put together a exit strategy, and ran into a buddy of mine named Jeff. He started living a different lifestyle that I knew wasn't being funded by being a police officer. And, he's a police officer with me. So, I got into the real estate field, and that's how I kind of got my journey started with business.
Wow. So I want to make sure that everybody is really hearing what's going on. So number one, you came from a family of entrepreneurs. So you were able to see what entrepreneurship could do for you. That's number one. Number two, you decided, you know what, I was given three choices, pick one, kind of throw the dart at the dartboard. Bam, I'm going to the military. So you've done that. You went in, you excel. Okay, great. Now I get out and I say, you know what? I've got a knack for law enforcement. I've always wanted to do it, so I might as well try it out. I hope that you're listening to the trend here, folks, because productivity is not stale. It's not boring. It is fluid. So you really can start in one area and migrate or navigate your way into other areas. So stop being stale. Stop sticking to something just because that's how it's always been, right? All means all, and that's all means. The question is, what does your all entail? So we went from a household of entrepreneurs, went over to the military, became a deputy sheriff, okay? And I know none of this stuff is easy, but we're going through the timeline so that you can pick up what Sean is actually putting down. Then we turned around and decided, you know what? I want generational wealth, not to just be funding somebody else's business or dream. So I got into real estate, and real estate started to do something for you. Come on, talk to us, Sean, a little bit about real estate.
Absolutely. Let me back step one moment here. When in law enforcement, I realized that my trigger finger, that was determining my profession. You know, if something happened to the trigger finger, that would cease my ability to perform, which I couldn't create income. So that's what really got me aggressively moving forward. So I looked at real estate, and I remember I would bug my buddy Jeff. I said, Jeff, what are you doing, man? You're living different, you're driving different, you're dressing different. What are you doing? So he was like, come back to me and I'll check with you later. So he kind of put me off because he wanted to see my seriousness. So about a month or two later, he said, hey, look, maybe you should get into home inspection. So he kind of gave me some numbers in that, and I quickly realized that I could make in one day what it take me a whole week at the sheriff's department to make. So I started that business, got that rolling, and I saw Jeff go to the next level. He ended up getting a different home, different car. So I said, okay, Jeff, I need some more. You got to tell me what to do next, because like you said, I didn't want to stay stagnant. I wanted to stay moving and progressing. And I realized that even though I had that strong source of income, I still wanted additional income sources, kind of like like a three-legged stool. You know, if you got a one-legged stool, that's going to take a tremendous balancing act. You know, two-legged stool, we can do it, but when we get off, the stool's going to fall. But once we got that third leg and what I call a trifecta, financial trifecta, then it has stability. So I started in a regular commercial and residential real estate, focusing on land, lots, residential, and that's when the big bucks started coming in. And Dr. V, the way that worked out for me was the home inspection provided me everyday money. So I can go out and do an inspection today, get paid today, go out and do one tomorrow. The real estate, that went in like 30 to 45 day increments. So I had short money and long money coming in conjunction with what I was doing at the sheriff's department.
So that three-legged trifecta that we're talking about is what people need to pick up. If you want to create generational wealth, then you can't have one leg. One leg equals one stream. Okay, you want to bump it up and say, hey, I want to, dabble in my entrepreneurial experience. Well, guess what? That's two streams. Well, when you become a serial entrepreneur, you find yourself dabbling in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever your number may be. Stop wherever you feel comfortable, right? So I hope that you all are picking up what's happening right now. You cannot, watch this, you cannot get rich off of a job, one job. It's not going to happen. It's not, I'm going to say it again. I hope that you all are picking up what I'm putting down. It's not going to happen. What you're hearing is when you duplicate something, and some people say it this way, learn how to duplicate your income, whether that's through a second stream or multiple streams or whatever. How do you duplicate? You double what you were making, and then you double that. That's how millionaires think. That's how their mindset is. They don't think in cents. They think in millions or thousands or hundreds of thousands. Right. Well, looking at your current income, ask yourself, is it sustainable? With what you have going out, do you have enough coming in after what has gone out has gone out? Right? And then how long do you have that for? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but let's talk about this thing. So the three-legged stool, the trifecta of generational wealth, is to multiply your streams.
Right.
Okay. So now I understand, Sean, that this takes levels of understanding, or if you would, formal and informal education. So let's talk about the 3 types of education.
Okay. 3 types of education. First, we have what's called a scholastic or an academic education. That's where we basically learn how to read, write, arithmetic. That's designed for us to go get a job, which a lot of people know as just over broke. And what we do in that position is we trade our time for money. And what people have to understand is our time is far valuable than money, because we can remanufacture money, but we cannot remanufacture time. So once it's spent, it's spent. Second type of education was known as a professional education. That's where we start specializing in a particular profession or career, such as being an engineer, an attorney or doctor, plumber, anything like that, where we're specializing. Now, in this particular situation, we tend to make more money, but it also requires more time. So we're still in the same boat. It's just that sometimes we can be broke at a higher level. And the third type of income is what's known as a financial education. And this is where financial literacy come in. You know, I always tell people, you know, I might say habla español or parle français, konnichiwa. Those are 3 different languages, but if you don't speak any of those languages, you're going to have a hard time coping in that particular land. So the same holds true with finances. If you don't speak the language of finances, you're going to have a hard time coping in the land and in the world of finances. So those are the 3 different types of education. And you got to have the financial education to get the literacy, financial literacy, as well as your business acumen.
So what many people fail to understand too here, Sean, as we talk about these 2 major words, business acumen and financial literacy. No, people think, you know, I could just walk off the street and be able to handle the business. You may have street smarts, but you have to have financial smarts. You have to learn the lingo and the language in order to play the game. You know, I love the way that you put that. Hey, if I drop you off in Paris, in France, or anywhere like that, and you don't parle français, you're going to have some problems, right? If I send you over to Korea or Japan, you know, like you said, annyeonghaseyo or kamsahamnida, or if you can't do those things, guess what? You're going to have some trouble, right? And it takes a while for you to adapt and understand, watch this, the language of money. The language of money. You know, one of the things that I love about finances, Sean, is this. Money does have a language. It also has an attitude.
Exactly.
Money wants to be seduced and wants to be respected at the same time, right? So if people understand that language, then they would learn about investments. They would learn why it's so important to diversify things and this, that, and the other. But that's a whole nother show. But let's talk. So we talked about the 3 types of education. Let's talk about the 3 types of money skills.
Yeah, the 3 types of skills. First thing we have to do is we got to figure out how to first make money. And we do that by, first of all, creating what's called a high income skill. Now, there's a difference between a high income skill and a high income job. See, a high income job, at any time they decide to pull the plug, they can pull the plug. And you pretty much generalize there, but you have a high income skill. Now, what is a high income skill? A high income skill is a skill set that can typically generate you $10,000 a month at a minimum, upwards to $120,000 a year. So that would be a high income skill. And then you can take that high income skill to then start funding it into a business system. So that's going to be the first money skill. Second money skill is, once we got the money, we got to protect the money. You got to be able to hold on to it. You know, so often we find people that as soon as they get the money, it just runs out. You know, it's called an economic bounce. You know, some communities, we have a very short economic bounce of like 20 minutes. And you have some communities where they have an economic bounce of 6 to 8 days, 12 to 14. And one of the highest economic bounces are 18 to 21 days, where that money circulates within that same community. So that's going to be the second thing, is to be able to hold on to the money. But we don't just save money to save money, we save money to invest. And that leads us to the third money skill, which is to know how to grow or how to multiply that money. Because, see, money attracts to those who know how to multiply it. Once you get to that point, it's like seed. You know, it's like you get an apple. How many seeds are in an apple? 3 or 4. But how many seeds are in each seed of that apple? How many apple trees? So that's the same mindset and ideology that you have to have when it comes to money. We have to figure out how to grow this, how to send them out as employees. Each dollar bill should go out to be an employee to bring back many more.
And many people don't have that money mindset, if you would, and understand that money does have a mission. As you mentioned, every dollar should have a mission to go out and recruit more and come back with more. But the question of the day is, how do you see your money? If you see yourself as broke, if you see yourself as low income, if you see yourself as impoverished, then that's all you'll ever be able to do. But until you change your mind, you can't change the state of your money. So with that said, I want to talk to you about a myth. Many people, have issues when we talk taking vacations. Let's talk a little bit about that. As someone who has created multiple streams of income and have generational wealth, talk to us about the myths of vacations.
Man, I think a lot of people think that, unfortunately, it's like people think that you have to work a whole lifetime just to be able to enjoy a vacation at the end. Well, unfortunately, a lot of times, some people, unfortunately, they don't make it to the end to see the vacation. And it's like you just work and work and work, and you think that, we can only travel to local beaches. We can't go see the world, but there's so much out there to see. Matter of fact, Dr. V, my wife and I and family, we just took multiple trips this last year. My wife and I, we did an anniversary tour where I just kind of kidnapped her. She didn't know where she was going. I packed her bag for her, grabbed the passport and said, let's ride. And we ended up going to Italy, we went to Dubai, went to Thailand. And here's the cool thing about that. Because we're business partners, anywhere we travel, we're going to discuss business. We're going to expand our business network. So the trip actually becomes a tax deduction. So we make it a working trip, as you will, with more trip than working. But, I think a lot of times people think that, you have to just work so hard to, work like 30, 40 years to enjoy 2-week vacation. But, the way we live is we go and live life as we're progressing. We're taking business with us. So I think that's important too, because you got to have a little downtime, to be able to recoup, recharge the batteries, keep the family mission. When we go there, and one of the big things for me, Dr. V, is when I take my wife to places like that, it stretches her mind. It's like a rubber band. Once a rubber band is stretched, when you let it go, it never goes back to its original dimension. And the same thing, like you said, wealth is a mentality. And it's like, I've done studies where people have won the lottery and they lose money instantly. And if you were to swap a wealthy person with a person that's not yet wealthy, switch their bank accounts, within about 18 months, the roles will reverse right back. The person they handed the $1 million to, he'd lose it. The person that was wealthy, that was now stripped of their income, would gain it back, all because of the mindset.
Yeah, looking at that, so many people are living in an era in their mind of lack, only trying to figure out how can they get what they need versus what they want. And it's a struggle for many people who don't understand the money lingo or language, and they don't understand the money skills or the money mindset. Therefore, they don't give their money mission. They don't send out their money with a purpose, and therefore they squander what they do have. All of the wealthy people that I've been able and blessed to work with and, hang out with, it's amazing to me that you'd never know it. You have a lot of people who do the flash bang and awe type thing, but majority of the million and billionaires, you would never know it. But they live very well. And they take care of what they have. So the question at hand is, do people really understand what wealth is? Wealth is not, a few zeros. Wealth is something that is sustainable beyond your lifetime. And a lot of people miss that. So that's why I love talking about generational wealth building through multiple streams of income. Well, talk to me, Sean. I know you're a family man. We just talked about those vacations and how you're able to do those things. Many entrepreneurs and business owners don't think that that's even possible. So talk to me about family investment, because I heard you say you kidnapped your wife for that period of time, but then you also took, family trips as well. So talk to me about family investments.
Yeah, I think it's like super important to just invest into, and we do like multiple investments, like the kids. We put them in different courses, from STEM courses, things that we know are going to develop their mindset, just their regular thought processes about a lot of things. With the kids, for an example, we invest time. That's one of the biggest things. Around the house, we actually play Monopoly to teach them the dynamics of, excuse me, of money and income. When there's money transactions, we make sure that they handle that when we're going out in public. Hey, here's the money. We expect change back. Tell me how much it should be, so that they start to understand the philosophies of money, the principles. So, we invest a lot in them. We got them in Toastmaster classes just to develop their speaking ability. So investing in the family is tremendous. The kids, they got E-Trade accounts. We teach them stocks. My son, for an example, he wants to invest in Ford for some reason. I said, well, have you done any research in that? Do you know anything about the company? He said, no, I just like the company. And believe it or not, the company was doing kind of good for the last couple of months. So that just comes as a result of, the time that we put into them, the books. They actually read books that I read. They read little kitty books too, but they also understand. They read books like 10X. My son loved that book. That's one of his favorite books, 10X by Grant Cardone. So that's one of the biggest things as far as investing and being able to, we talked to our kids about our 100-year plan, because like you said, your wealth has to go past you. It has to go past the next generation. So you got to make sure that your thumbprint will surpass your life. And that's one of the biggest things we do. We got a 100-year time capsule that we're putting together, that of course I won't be here when that time comes, but man, just to know that the grandkids can open that capsule up and have an amazing life as a result of what we're putting together now.
Now, that's pretty interesting, man, that you would even talk about that. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the family side. I know without a shadow of a doubt that you all train up your children in the way that they should go, mindset, mission, heart, and everything. You wrote a book called 15 Ideas Wealthy Parents Teach Their Kids That Poor Don't. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Man, the book, this is it here. I got 15, the guide here, and it's also a workbook that goes with it. And that's one of the biggest things is that, we have to have a plan, you have to have a strategy written out, and that's the purpose of the workbook. But basically what it's designed is just to teach you the fundamentals of what our kids should be learning. It's sad to see how kids can know the song, words to every song. They can know every dance that's out, every fashion, but they don't know anything about finances. They don't know anything about how to grow income. My son, Caden, he has an activity book. And in that, he actually teach other kids how to double their allowance. They can do as a 7, 8, or 9-year-old, things that they can do to create income, and then how to multiply that. And he gives a great example with snack cakes of showing how he can take less than $2 and multiply and get a return on his investment of $10 off of his $2. So that's one of the biggest things that we talk about in this book, is just to be able to share thought processes. But in order to get this message conveyed to our children and our children's children, we have to understand it. We have to build a platform and a foundation where we're going to understand how finances work, and the simple things about budgeting. Like you said, money, you have a relationship with money. I was telling my wife, I was like, look, I treat her like my second wife on the side. It's like you got to respect her. You got to take care of her. I teach the kids, when you're handing money, you're doing money transactions, don't hand somebody a wad of money. Have your money organized, get the dog ears out, present it properly. Because if you don't respect it, it won't respect you, and it will avoid you. Just like mistreating a spouse.
Now, interestingly enough, writing books and helping our kids to understand these principles, it shows. It's just like what we call a seed. A seed in the right soil will flourish, right? So talk to me about kids in business.
Yes. Both my kids are in business. My daughter is 9, my son is 8. And, there's usually reasons that will cause the business. My daughter, for an example, she was actually
Okay. So learning more and more about kids in business is absolutely essential. And I think that that is so important that we teach principles that change their life. So many people fail to understand and realize how the kids literally have a microscope on what we do as parents, showing them the benefit of being, watch this, the person who is actually not the borrower, but the actual lender. Think about that. How many of you have actually seen where a parent actually teaches their child that they should be the lender and not the borrower? So come on, Sean, talk to me about that kids in business.
Yes, one of the key things with that, both of the kids, my 9-year-old daughter, my 8-year-old son, they both own their own businesses. My daughter, she started her company as a result of an incident that happened in the school system where she was taken out of the school system by misidentification. So she started a safety locket business. It has the child's name, the contact information, parent name, what school they go to. So in the event they were taken, they could be reacquainted back with their family members. And that business segued over to where she's a 3-time author, and she also just recently launched her affirmation CD, her audio series, which is giving kids great inspirational words in the morning as well as before they go to bed to get them through the day. And my son, he started a company called Daddy Did You Know? And every day he would just come to me and give me some tutorial information. And one day he came home and he blew me away when he asked me, did I know what hydrochloro something was? And I was like, yeah, I know what it is, but you tell me. So he said it was the absorbent material that's used in diapers. So as a good dad, I went and Googled it and found out that the kid was right. So, he started a YouTube tutorial channel, which led into financial flashcards. So he has financial flashcards. Like this is a pack here. This is his first one. It's on banking. And it goes over the fundamentals of banking, things like teaching them what a dividend is, teaching them what return on investment means, stocks, and so forth like that. So, we figure if kids can learn how to read and write by using flashcards, they can also learn about financial education in the same manner. So, we educate both the kids. We let them come to business meetings with us. And that's the one thing, they don't operate little lemonade stands on the corner. They actually operate corporations. They're LLC. And, we take them to conferences. We bring them around other professional business leaders so that they can understand and start to get the thought process as an adult running their business.
So what's interesting to me, let's take this thing now 360 full circle, is you grew up in a household of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Now your kids are growing up in a household of entrepreneurs.
Right.
You see the irony in how that works. But creating generational wealth, that's normally how it starts. Most parents get upset when their kids are going off to do something that they didn't necessarily decide that they wanted them to do.
Right.
But the beauty of it is, if you leave the seed, success always leaves clues. So I'm super excited, man, as I'm sitting here listening to you. We're breaking down these principles, helping people to understand generational wealth. Now they can see it playing out right here on the show as they listen to you. 8, 9-year-olds already have their businesses, already understand basic principles about finance, and can actually help other people. So what I want to tell you, if you're listening to Productivity 360 today, is that nothing is impossible. That's number one. Number two, just start wherever you may find yourself. Doesn't matter what they say about you. The question is, what do you say about you? And then ask yourself, what are you doing for development, both personally and professionally? Take the time to seek out and understand what's going on around you. Don't be the person that they call dead on a doorknob. Why do people say that? Because doorknobs are only used every now and then. But see, be that person who literally allows the door hinge to open and close. Because every time you want to get in and out of the door, those things are working. But watch this, without the door hinge, guess what? The door will never swing open, nor will it close properly. So my question to you, the question of the day, is how will you create generational wealth? Listen, Sean, I want you to tell the listening audience how they can get in touch with you. Should they want to learn more about generational wealth, wealth literacy, financial literacy, how could they get in touch with you, my friend?
Yes, they can reach me on my website at SeanJHarris.com. That's SEAN, the letter J, Harris.com. And all my social media platforms are Sean J. Harris Speaks.
Absolutely. So once again, folks, every Friday right here on Bashani and Worldwide, you know what we do. We bring you the bomb. That's the best and the brightest from all around the world. Listen, if you haven't heard nothing today, you better hear this. 2019, we're talking about the year of beyond your limitation. Stretch your mind, open up your eyes, and begin to generate your wealth. Until next time, you already know, I want you to be innovative and be productive, but most of all, get out there and create generational wealth. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Productivity 360 Radio Show with Dr. Vernet A. Joseph. Interact with Dr. Vernet on the Productivity 360 Radio Show Facebook page. For books, coaching, or speaking inquiries, visit livetoproduce.com.